All right, we are using Digital Photo Professional 4 with the Canon 5D Mark IV files that I recently took of my poor unsuspecting family. And in this instance, I'm looking at extreme situations. The poses and the images are not quite as natural as I would target in my normal shooting, but I really wanted to show something that I could highlight some of the fine adjustments that can be made using the dual pixel technology that's baked into the camera and Digital Photo Pro. So first up is my son, and if I launch the dual pixel raw optimizer, I am brought into a window that brings up a few different adjustment capabilities, which is the micro adjustments for focus, the bokeh shift, and the ghosting reduction. So if we look at ghosting reduction for my son, what you'll find is if you look at his ears, you'll see that this enables me to show more of his body that's lost in the blown out exposure. So if I toggle back and forth, you can see this. So this gives you an idea of how the micro parallax of the sensor of the pixels gives you greater visibility to your subject. I didn't think to take a photo with lens flare in it when I was running these tests, but that in itself would also benefit from this functionality. Now, the lens that was used for this is the Canon 50 f1.0, and it was shot at f1.0, and this is a really rare lens that's no longer in production, but I used it at this setting to show you at the most extreme open aperture setting what can happen here. So it's a great lens to highlight the examples of what this functionality does, and this is going to be true for all of the photos that I highlight here. So that gives you an idea of how ghosting kind of manifests itself with this functionality. And if I cancel out of this one and I go to another one of my son, and I zoom in, actually let's go straight to the Pixel Raw Optimizer. If I zoom in on this image once it shows, and we'll zoom in at 100%. And what we'll do is we will see with his eyes, I'll show you how these micro adjustments actually work. And when I have the micro adjustments on, I can actually, you'll see that the left eye is a little sharper than the right eye. His head is not exactly even with the plane of focus at the really sliver of the plane of focus at 1.0 that this lens produces. And what you'll find is that if I increase the strength a little bit and I go up a little bit, it looks like it comes into focus a little bit more. So let's go back. You'll see that the right eye gets a little softer. If I go way extreme, you'll see that this increases a little bit more, and it definitely gets sharper on the left eye. So if you're particular about how sharp your focus is with a wide open aperture, this gives you the ability to do that. I can adjust the strength a little bit more, and you'll see that when I toggle this on and off, you can see where the focus highlights. Now, you'll have to look at this at the highest resolution, and I'll try to take a couple screenshots here that I can make a animated GIF out of this for later use. But yeah, this is exactly what this functionality provides. All right, so that's one example of the micro adjustments. If I cancel out of this and I go to my son, my other son, and I jump into the dual pixel raw optimizer again, what you'll see once it loads, and I should preface that this takes a little while on my computer because it's an older Mac Pro workstation. But in this case, if I zoom in, actually let's not zoom in. What we're looking at here is the bokeh adjustment, and if I want to shift the bokeh which the Canon 50 1.0 has a very unique 1.0 bokeh look to it. And what you'll see is if you don't like the bokeh, like right over the head, or there's something that's distracting to you, you can actually go in and adjust the bokeh to the left or the right, and it will shift over. And if it's in the center, it's back to normal. So again, I'm going to make an animated GIF out of this, and I'll put this all the way to the left, take a quick screenshot. I'll move it all the way back to the center, which is where it was before. And then I will move it all the way back over to the right, and you can see how the bokeh actually jumps. So what you can imagine is with a night shot or with a daytime shot like this, where you have very pronounced bokeh, let's assume it's a 1.4 lens, like a 51.4 or an 85 millimeter f1.2. These types of lenses will produce bokeh that you can move left and right with this particular camera body using Digital Photo Professional. Potentially useful, but again, for the most meticulous of shooter, not something that you're going to be able to get out of a smaller aperture setting where you have greater depth of field. This type of functionality is just not going to serve you in any way that's going to be a benefit in those situations.